Hello, and welcome to another episode of A Few Minutes with Marvin. I am Marvin, and I inspire those who aspire to make positive changes in their lives. And in this episode, I want to talk about making choices. And it doesn't necessarily just apply to voting, although that's where I'm going to lead this topic a little bit, but everyday choices as well, in terms of, you know, day-to-day decisions, and major decisions, purchasing decisions, schooling decisions, career decisions. It all applies. But let's go with voting for now. And I'll remind you that it is important and it is our inalienable right as U.S. citizens to cast our vote. And yes, each vote does count. Um, and any election is very important. It could be um, at the lowest levels of government to the highest level, the presidency of the United States. So, how do you make your decisions on what candidate you're going to vote for? Um, the easiest way to answer that is say from the heart, yes, and using your intuition. And people may ask, well, I may not believe what this candidate says. The media is saying this about that candidate. I listen to the debates, and they're going after each other with slurs and lies, and I don't know who to believe or what to believe. And the easy way to answer that question is to um, believe what you see or what resonates with you, and do some research. And I know that a lot of people say they don't have time, but these are very important decisions. Casting a vote is no laughing matter. It's not something that should be taken lightly. It affects the economy. It affects the way we live in this country, and the decisions that are made as a country around the world, and how we impact and affect other countries, and how they impact and affect us through policies and things of that nature. So yeah, it's very important to vote, and voting. Political races can be very low vibration. A lot of mudslinging, a lot of pointing fingers, a lot of bad language used, negativity. The ads are horrible. By every candidate, it doesn't matter who's running. It doesn't matter which party's running. Um, they both have their fair share of ads, and they all try to influence your vote in one way or another. And then you have the people that support them, corporations, the media, social media, that throw a lot of things at you, and some of it's misinformation on both sides. So when casting a vote, you really need to take that information plus whatever you feel, plus whatever your coworkers and friends and family they're all feeling. Yeah, those you take all that into account. But instead of just following somebody else, or taking the advice of blah 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 political advisor, or such and such corporation is endorsing this one, my union's endorsing this guy, I need to vote that way. It shouldn't be that way. Voting is very individual, and the only vote that should matter is your vote, not your vote based on an influence from some other source. And you know, for example, if you're listening to both candidates and one of them resonates with you, but you don't like a clip that came up from the other camp on this particular candidate, instead of just relying on just that one little clip that they want, that's a narrative that they're trying to sell you, take a look at that clip. Go on Google or DuckDuckGo or wherever you browse, and type in that date, that specific campaign, and look at the entire clip. Don't just take it from one perspective. Look at the context of what was said, how it was said, and then make a decision. Because now you have the whole picture. And it could be, the right picture that they're trying to, present to you, or it could be something totally misconstrued that they're just taking one little piece of it and turning it around. And that's something that you need to do, and discern for yourself. You know, see the entire picture. Don't just take what you're being fed. Again, this isn't Democrat or Republican in either way. I'm not encouraging either. I'm not advertising, or I'm not for any particular candidate on this video. I have my own opinions, and I've done my research. Instead of just listening to the speeches and little bits that are presented to us here and there through the media, through the television, through social media and ads, I'll look for a specific topic. Let's say trade, the trade with different, and the embargoes and the tariffs and all of that, and I'll look at each candidate's platform and see where their focus is. Is it what's best for America? Do we how do we gain from this? As a country, for the betterment of our country, while still having some advantages for another country, but it has to be our country first, in my opinion. Um, and the what we gain from it as a country needs to benefit the United States of America. So I base all of my decisions on those things, and how it affects me and my family, and my stances on education, my stances on free speech, the amendment, the Constitution, and all of that. I take all of that quite seriously, and so should you, in my opinion. I mean, again, if you want to just follow the herd, that's your choice as well. But here's that word again: it's choice. If you make a choice to vote, do it from your heart. Do it from your research. Do it from your thoughts and what you believe, not what somebody else intends for you to believe or is trying to manipulate you into believing. Because a lot of that is happening, whether you're conscious of it or not. There are a lot of subliminal things out there that are being fed to us as a mass, to influence us in one way or another. And the most important thing that you need to take away from this, whether it's making a voting decision or any decision in your life, is that it's your power. They don't hold the power. Either of these politicians or either of these parties should not hold the power. This is a democratic system. We hold the power. So I am voting and using my power, regardless of whether my candidate wins or not. I made the decision based on my values and what I believe, not on what I was spoon-fed or subliminally fed, or the ads or the mudslinging. I did it based on what each candidate was saying, and I researched what each candidate was saying and looked, at the fine print and how it's going to impact our country, first of all, our infrastructure, and my family and my friends. But it comes from me. It comes from what I believe and what I decide and how I feel, and really from my heart, and how each topic affects me emotionally, mostly, and mentally. That's how I base my decision, because it's my power, and I choose not to give my power to just anybody, and neither should you. We have the power, and collectively, our power decides who is in power, not the other way around, and shouldn't be the other way around. It shouldn't be the political scene determining who's in power. We are the people. It's our voice, each individual voice, and each individual voice is heard through our voting. And as a collective, the collective voice chooses the candidate. Again, it doesn't matter to me who it is, as long as you vote from your heart and vote from yourself, not being bought by anybody, not based on somebody else's opinion because you didn't bother to do the research and you just listened to a little clip and that made you angry, and instead of going and looking at the whole picture, you based your choice on just what you were fed. I hate to say it, but we are being manipulated a lot, and it's time for us to stop and to take responsibility. Because I take responsibility for my actions. If I allow myself to be manipulated, that's on me. It's not on the person who manipulated me. So these politicians and the social media and all these other groups and interest groups and lobbyists, they're all trying to influence you in one way or another. And that's fine, it's their right to do so. But it's your right to invoke your power and to make decisions based on what you think, what you feel, what you believe in, and not on what somebody else wants you to believe or has conditioned you to believe in some way or another. And let's face it, we've been conditioned from birth either way. And I'm not saying any of it's good or bad. Make sure it's good or bad for you. It's what's best for you. And don't worry about what other people think is good or bad. And that's how you should vote. Vote, vote, vote from your heart. Vote from what you believe, not from what other people are brainwashing you to believe. And that's a strong word, but based on what I've seen, there's quite a bit of it, and it's been happening for hundreds of thousands of years. But I'm choosing to take my power back, and I encourage you to do the same. And as usual, do it with love and gratitude and faith and trust. And if you do the right thing for yourself, you're doing the right things for others. So have an amazing day, folks, and do what's right for you. Go out and vote.